Hi, I'm Henry Wong. We're here to discuss what to offer on a property. So you looked at a few properties and you're interested in one in particular. Now, a good rule of thumb is if a property is 7 out of 10 rating, as in what you rated, your level of interest, I would strongly suggest you make an offer. Now, number two is when you make an offer, ideally, you want to make a very reasonable offer. Now, let me explain what a reasonable offer is. Say, for example, the property you're looking at, the asking price is $1 million. Now, you're thinking, okay, you know what? They need to probably do a bit of painting, change some carpets, maybe change a few of the fences, and your offer is, say, for example, $950,000. Now, this $950,000, that is somewhat reasonable, I guess, within 5% or so. Now, what you should not do is offer a lowball offer, especially if you're prepared to pay $950,000. So if you're prepared to pay $950,000, don't go offering the seller $800,000. Now, why I say that is because if you're prepared to offer $950,000 and you go offering the seller $800,000, now obviously the seller's going to say, no, the gap is too far, thank you very much. But also you need to bear in mind, sometimes a seller will see that as rude or even offensive. So that would actually be, I guess you could say, a negative connotation when your name comes onto conversation. So probably not a good idea to offer $800,000, just go for $950,000 or close to that if you're going to make an offer. Now, it would be very different if you only saw value $800,000 instead of $1 million and you're not prepared to go to $950,000. So that's what I mean by a reasonable offer. Number two, when making an offer, here's what you do to determine at what price should you make an offer. Well, number one, you want to look at what has sold in the past. That means you look at realestate.com.au, domain.com.au, and if you have RP data, look it up on RP data. That house sold for that, that house sold for that, that house sold for that. Therefore, I'm going to offer X amount of dollars. You also look at what is currently up for sale. So obviously, what has sold in the past, you can't buy that anymore. But what is currently for sale, you can. Number three is what you don't know is the competition. So this is a question mark. You have no idea how many other buyers you're bidding against to buy the property. So when you're making an offer on a property, you think about the past, what's sold in the past, what's currently for sale, but also you may need to pay that extra X amount of dollars to secure the property because you don't know who else you have to compete with. So those are the three elements you need to take into account when making an offer. So lastly, in addition to what we've mentioned before, with respect to coming out with a figure to what you're prepared to pay for on a property, now there are three different prices that most buyers come up with. Now, the first one is you'll be like, wow, you know, if I can get the property at this price, I'll be over the moon. It's an absolute bargain. Now, you have to understand, these days, if you love the property, more than likely, quite a few other people are also interested in it as well. So that means you have to compete. So quite a lot of the times, you may not actually get the bargain price, to be honest. Number two is you see, hey, I'm like looking at making an offer on this property. It's fair market value, it's market price, it's quite reasonable, therefore I'm willing to pay X amount of dollars. That's fair enough. That's where most buyers are actually paying. Number three, this is when you actually have to compete. So when you actually have to compete for a property, you want to pay a price that you don't want to lose it for. What I mean by that is, if a property, say for example, is $950,000 asking price and you're looking at paying $910,000, You don't want to wake up the next morning with the agent giving you a call and saying, thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, or thank you, Mr. Buyer, or Mrs. Buyer. We actually just sold the property. It's under contract for $920. And knowing that you could have paid more money, that you could have paid $930, but you decided to go in at $910. That's what I mean by an offer that you don't want to lose the property for. So at the end of the day, you don't want to have any regrets. So what I'm saying is that when you're making an offer on a property, you want to pay a price that when you wake up the next morning, you know, if I can get it at this price, I'll be happy, you know. It's a bit of a stretch for me, a bit uncomfortable, but you know what? I will have no regrets because I love this property. That's what I mean by don't want to lose it for. So there you have it. That's what to offer on a property.